In this short video we want to talk about business failure and prevention, the prevention of business failure. It's a short video, but nonetheless the points are very important and well worth noting. So the following are some reasons for business failures and ways of preventing business failures. So looking at the failures and their preventions. First of all, businesses may fail because of a lack of cash flow planning. Poor cash flow management is a reason which can result in business failure. It's vital to be able to meet short-term cash outflows, and many small businesses find that particularly problematic. It's difficult to say why that's the case. It may be just sometimes simply a misunderstanding of the importance of cash flow, or it could be that the resources simply were not there as expected. Perhaps the business was promised some additional funding which didn't come through, or something of this nature. So particularly small businesses may suffer in this way. Cash flow is very important because it means that the business can pay its day-to-day bills. It can pay its labour and its utility bills and meet its obligations. If it can't meet those, then it's in trouble right from the start. So having a good cash flow statement is very important. So poor cash flow management is a reason why businesses may fail. They could also have poor focus. Setting specific goals and objectives, missions and visions for the organization enable the business to develop strategies directed towards achieving goals. It's important that the business know where it's going. The management must have some idea about where it wants to position the business. Does it want to make a particular product? Does it want to make related products? How does it market the product? What are the attributes of its product? What are its pricing? What is its pricing strategy, I should say? What are the objectives of the business? And if it doesn't have those, it's really like a ship without a rudder. It doesn't have any control where it's going, and the chances are it will hit the rocks, the proverbial rocks, and sink. So poor focus is a reason why businesses may fail. If the business has got a strong focus, the chances are it will survive and continue. Performance monitoring. Well, it's important that the business can monitor employees and monitor its financial position and monitor production systems and monitor its own processes, and monitor these in a way that gives accurate feedback to the management as to how the business is doing. If it doesn't get accurate feedback, then it can't tell how the business is going, and that may lead to problems down the line. It may start to overestimate its own ability and take on orders it can't possibly deliver because it has overestimated what it's doing. It needs to have accurate performance monitoring right across the business to make sure that the management is aware and realistic of how the business is going and how it's doing. Not to live in a fantasy world where they think everything is fine, when in fact there may be big problems within the company itself or within the business. So performance monitoring is very important as well, and this is a way in which the managers will know if there are problems at an early stage and perhaps be able to take remedial measures to fix those before they can lead to catastrophic failure. Insufficient market knowledge. Well, sometimes small businesses in particular may not know the market completely. They may think they do, but markets change very rapidly, and what we've seen over the last few decades, the last couple of decades in particular, is greater knowledge on the part of customers because of computerization and social networking and better communications channels. So the management need to be aware that the customers now know that there are many products which will substitute for the one they're making, and that there are producers who are watching the market very avidly watching the market, who are prepared to step in to produce the product if they see one producer making what economists call abnormal profits. So it's important that the managers gain knowledge of the market and try to keep up with what's happening in the market. To that end, they may want to do some level of market research. They may want to get involved in the market themselves and see what's happening and talk to participants in the market, talk to suppliers and distributors to try and see what the market requires and try to make products that meet those requirements. There may be limited understanding of the market or industry. It's important that companies conduct research into the structure of the industry, who's in the industry, who's making what sort of capital structure have they got, how long have they been in the business, what's the degree of competitiveness within the industry, have they got any direct rivals. It's important to be aware of what's happening within the market and the industry. And if the managers of a business are not aware of that, then the business is in a very weak position. Poor management structure. Well, inexperienced management and leadership will result in poor team working and ineffective delegation of responsibilities. It's important that the management are experienced enough to be able to delegate, to know who to delegate to. It's important that they're able to lead by example, that they inspire the workers to achieve certain standards, and they emphasize quality, they emphasize dedication and application to the tasks. But they do it so that the rest of the workforce can see that they're leading by example. And when they do delegate, they delegate in a way that enables them to control the delegation, so that they haven't just abrogated responsibility, they haven't given up all responsibility, they've just asked someone to take over managing one particular section. They may wish to keep overall control of it to ensure that quality standards are maintained. So it's important to have a good management structure, one that's keen to succeed and have the right qualities and the right attributes to enable the business to succeed. Sourcing, funding and finance. Well, new business startups can struggle to secure sufficient finance. Startups always have a problem about getting sufficient funds to get off the ground. Startups have different sources they can tap into, venture capitalists and different funds and different schemes set up by governments and so on. But despite all of that, it's still difficult for the truly innovative product to get off the ground. It's very difficult perhaps for the layperson to understand the significance of such a product. It's really can only be overcome by good management and having proper research into the market, the size of the market, the pricing that can be charged, and these should be realistic figures, not, again, as I said earlier, not fantasy figures, ones which are realistic. This is the price that will be charged, that is realistically the size of the market, that's what can be anticipated, these are the competitors, this is what they will do in response to entry into the market. So a complete statement of what is likely to happen, a realistic statement, and having worked that out, there is more chance of getting funding. Now, make it sound easy, but a good business plan should do all of this. And a good business plan is what every business requires. Failure to adopt innovation. Well, businesses must accommodate for changing customer needs. It must also allow for technology changes and product development. Businesses who don't adopt become like the dinosaur. They become extinct. They have to adopt. And the pace of innovation seems to be picking up over the last, again, couple of decades. So that companies must change the way they see the customer. Once it was perhaps a question of simply delivering the product to the market and the customer took it. Now it's a question of understanding the customer needs, requirements, and not just making one product that fits all sizes and make one product that suits everybody, making a range of products that will meet varying demands and various preferences within the market. So it's needing to, there's a need, perhaps is a better way of putting it, there's a need to integrate innovative type thinking into the management structure and the management thinking of the business, so that it becomes part and parcel of what the business does. The business knows it's making a certain product today, but it also recognizes that by next year or next month or whenever, they will be making a slight modification of the product, because the product will have changed or mutated slightly, because customer requirements were such that they wanted a slightly different product with different facilities or different styles. And companies that don't do that will become rapidly out of date and will lose their position in the market and will probably go out of business. The location of the business is also important. A bricks and mortar business, a real physical business in other words, must find the right location which will attract customers and provide competitive advantage. So it may be that the business, if it's selling directly to the customer, it may need a position on the high street in the city or in the town. But high streets may cost more in rental. So there are issues about the location of the business. We nowadays think that the internet and digital business is much more foot free. It can set up anywhere. It doesn't have to have a physical location. Well, that's fine for that type of product. But if it is a tactile product, a real physical product that needs to be sold in a real physical building or outlet, then the chances are that company will have to search for the right location so that customers can easily and conveniently purchase the product. Choosing the wrong location can be a disaster. Succession planning. No plans in place to appoint a successor. It's very risky for any business. Sometimes when businesses are set up, they're run successfully, they've run perhaps for many years successfully, but then the owner wants to retire. Is that the end of the business? Or has the owner carefully planned for someone to take over, train that person, and show that person all of the ways in which the product is made, and alerts the person to the importance of innovation, as I said earlier, and dealing with cash flow and management and delegation and all the things we've just talked about. But has the person trained somebody to do that? Or is it the case that that person retires and the business closes? So having succession planning is important, to have somebody ready to take over when the owner or the manager or the senior person retires. The next person's in place to take over and the business continues. And that's all we're going to deal with in this session. It's a short video, as I said. But the points we make here are important, and it's well worth going back over them, making a note of each one, because these are the points that can lead to business failure or success. If they're dealt with properly, the business may succeed. So let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.